that we both got those benefits. We got up to $3,000, well, $6,000 a month in expense allowance and college tuitions and all those things. So the company allows families to have a strategy there, and they certainly have maximized that strategy. I think they've done as good a job as anybody as knowing what their skill sets were. You see it in their marriage, but you also see them exercising those skill sets in our business. They don't both try to do the same thing. They each kind of like hand in glove fit together and do what the other person's. Sharron does what she's good at, Doug does what he's good at, and the outcome is so much better when you do that. So if you're a couple looking at this business and you're trying to figure out what does the mom do, what does the dad do, and how you fit together, search for your strengths and operate in your strengths. If someone had told me to do salad in the jar parties to become a national marketing director, I would have cried. I would have but if they said, go talk to your buddies on the golf course, I said, yes, go have that Americano with 4 extra shots with your buddies at Starbucks, whatever. That's what I would love to hear. But each its own. Some people do booths. Some people do salad and jar parties. But you got to operate in your strengths, and they do that in an excellent way. And that's why I'm so excited about their title this morning. And it kind of fit with my devotional when I talked about finding joy. They want to find joy in you. Don't you want to do something you love when you wake up every day? You don't feel like you're going to work. You just love what you're doing. That's what they're going to share with you. So welcome Doug and Sharron Farror to the stage.
Thank you. Well, I got to turn on her mic. Well, let's leave it off for a while. Like this. I'm in control. Hey, we have a lot of tips and notes. This is kind of fun back here, huh? Let's have a little more time. Oh, this is going to be bad. I want to apologize in advance for things I may or may not say. Yep. Don't worry, I already started the timer. Hey, so we have a lot of notes in this PowerPoint, and the screens are quite far for some people. So if you want to get out your phone, you can get the slides with all the notes on them. And I'm going to give you a phone number, and you can just text something to that, and you're going to get the slides right now. So the phone number, if you're ready, because this is not in the slides, is 954-417-4949. And just text the word joy. And then it'll give you a link, and it'll download the Canvas software. All right? Okay, the phone number is 954-417-4949. That's the first part of the training. Canva makes great slides. And Project Broadcast is a nice little resource sometimes. So don't text me on that number. I don't need to. All right, so we're going to get rolling here. What we're going to share with you guys today, our goal is that first of all, we're going to share how we got here. A little bit about our story. It's kind of interesting. We do have the couples aspect of the story, which is cool, but we're not going to focus on that too much. It's not that many people are working as couples in here. We're going to talk about finding a buddy in the business and what that looks like, both as a couple and with other people on your team. We're going to talk about how to grow your business and keep it fun, not just we have fun doing the business. So we're going to share a little bit about how we do that and give you guys tips of how you can do that too. And then we just decided, because we do these things called lunch and learns. We started it during COVID, and we just never stopped. So we're always training, but we're having these team meetings, and we share a lot with our team. And we want to give you some tips that might help you, that we thought, if we were coaching you, we would definitely want to share those tips with you. So I'm going to turn it over to Sharron to tell a little bit about our story.
Yes, hi guys.
Come on.
Wake up, guys. It all started 25 years ago. As of September, my friend Julie had put a tape in our son's diaper bag. And it was Jack Medina. Had no idea why she gave us that particular tape, and I just heard her mention the words Juice Plus and walking out of our baby dedication. I'm like, what? Because she was someone I always wanted to know, what is she excited about, She was an athletic trainer and a fitness professional and aerobics instructor, so I was like, okay, whatever she's doing, I want to know. And her house was, phenomenal, so I was like, okay, she's the one to watch. So she just barely mentioned it, and then I kind of listened to the tape, but not really. But we ended up at a football game, and she was so excited. And that's a big lesson for all of us. Be 10 to 15% more excited. She was like, it's got all your vitamins, minerals, and everything you need, and it's Jetsons come to life. And she's nodding a lot, and I'm like, okay. And I'm like, okay, I don't get enough fruits and vegetables, you know, I get nauseous with vitamins. And I knew I wasn't a healthy eater, so I was like, all right. And I was just following along with whatever she was saying, you know. And she's like, okay, I'm going to come to your house, and I'm going to show you everything, and da-da-da. And so, you know, she really just led me down that path, and that's our job, is to lead people down the path. And then she ended up at our house with all the different samples, and you know, I don't remember all the details, but she was there, and the guys were on the couch. Her husband is Doug's best friend from like 3rd grade. And so anyway, so I was just listening to her, and she's like, why don't we do this, share this with other people? I'm like, okay. And then you know, she's just leading me along. I'm like, okay. And so then I started to learn about Juice Plus. But then I also learned, I'd already had one baby, Matthew. Well, we had one.
Something to do with
yeah,
that.
Yeah.
I see where this is going.
Yes. And anyway, so then I found out after starting Juice Plus, I was pregnant. I'm like, oh, I better make sure my child's not going to turn red or green, you know? Like, I need to really look at this. And so I looked at the research, and I had a background, a master's that was heavy in research. So I was like, okay, that looks really good, the p-values, the effectiveness, and all that. And I asked a couple people, and, you know, professor and stuff like that. And so the research was sound. There were only 3 studies back then. So we've lived through all the other studies, which is pretty cool. And I got excited about what I was learning. Amy's sitting here. She was a big essential part of our learning, mine and Julie's, because she would give us an enzyme tape about live enzymes. And then I was, you know, and I learned a lot from that. Then I would learn, you know, every day that you don't have enough fruits and vegetables, it's like standing in front of an x-ray machine. I'm like, why didn't I learn this in college, you know? Why did I learn all these other things? This is real world stuff. And so I was really intrigued by nutrition and what I was learning from all those different doctors. And so I just kind of naturally started saying to my mom, my sister, and whoever, you need to listen to this tape. You need this too. And so Julie said, well, maybe one day we'll be able to stay home with our children. She didn't even have children, so she was a visionary. She totally led me along. Now, I had just finished 2 master's degrees, and I just got the perfect pigeonhole job, because my first master's didn't lead to like a real like job. It was like, oh, maybe this, maybe that. But I got a guidance counseling degree, and so I figured that was the rest of my life, you know? And then,
Me too.
yeah, I know. Then he was not thrilled when later I said, I don't think I'm going to go back to being a guidance counselor. You know, so I really was enjoying learning about Juice Plus. I was sharing with people at the high school. And he was just kind of coming along. He was taking Juice Plus. We got it for the whole family. That's the first thing, be a product of the product. And then, you know, then the second thing was share with 2 people a day. So I was actually bringing cassette tape to the high school. I went to I went to the Weight Watchers meeting at his school. I talked to his people, and I was just building a real good customer base. And that's what Amy and everybody was telling me. Build a real good customer base. And then, lo and behold, because I had been sharing, I got the guidance counselor next to me really excited. She propelled all of us, because she was so excited. She was telling the whole world. So, you know, get that first buddy. I mean, Julie was my buddy who introduced it, but Abby was the one who spurred us on, because she was asking every question that I didn't want to know about, and she wanted to know. So then she just kept spurring us on. And it wasn't, though, until about 3 years in, when I had a second baby. We had a second baby. And I always thought, I had the baby.
I just had the fun.
He was there. He was like the doctor drinking coffee. Then it wasn't until about, I also loved the business. When I was home with the kids, I was like, this is so cool. I can make money while doing diapers or whatever, but I'm using my brain. I'm learning a lot. And so I love that aspect, and I loved helping people. I love being on the phone. Yeah, you know, and in between all the different things that you do with the children. So I was like, yeah, I don't want to go back to work. Meanwhile, Julie's moving up, Amy's moving up, the sisters are moving up, her aunt and uncle's moving up, and I'm like, this works. this compensation plan works, and I saw everybody getting more serious about the business. And Julie, she got a doctor who was recommending Juice Plus, so then she started getting really organized. And so I said to Doug, we're like riding bikes one day, and I said, I think I don't want to go back to work. And that went over really well, right? So he's like, yeah, right, you know, we still have
Well, we have student loans, you know.
to still pay off. So anyway, I said, well, I see, you know, Julie's doing it. If she can do it, I can do it. So then I set out to do it. So then, you know, you have a toolbox and you have certain tools. Well, I had to incorporate the rest of the tools. I had to really do the system and become the Juice Plus lady. So then I became a little more bold, a little more serious, and then I started building. And then I reached national marketing director in about 7 years. Now Doug became involved a little more when I made like $1,000. Okay, so once I had the babies, and you know, that was a lot, 2 of them in a row, he was still supportive, but he had a great job. You know, he a band director and then an assistant principal. It wasn't like he was really available. So when I did become serious, I said, you know, I think I want to ramp this up. He goes, well, you're going to need 5 babysitters in your fund. I'm like, what? Because I thought he was going to help. And that's a mistake of a lot of us.
I have my own thing going, you know.
Yeah, he was beyond 40 hours a week. Because, you know, band directors, they're like Saturday festivals and parades and all these things, and then after school, and so he really wasn't available. But the best coaching was get the 5. I didn't like it when he said it. That's part of, you know, listening though to the people around you who are, you know, who know you. He's like, give 5 babysitters. So I did. Whenever a kid from his college that later he was teaching at would come up and play with the kids in the stroller, I'm like, are you a babysitter? So I did the babysitters, and I used them, and that's something that I recommend for all moms who are trying to, you know, really build. Don't be afraid to spend that money, to have that mother's helper, or have that, start doing that so that you can be really serious about the business, because it pays off, okay? Anyway, so Doug got a clue a little bit after we went to
Well, you bought me a car. That
Oh,
kind of
wow.
made an impact.
I mean, our story,
I wanted a
our
Mustang
story
GT, and
is
she said,
pretty
"Let's
cool.
get that."
Yeah, I forget why. I mean,
You made 2 of I don't know.
No,
I didn't hear this part of the story.
You didn't hear this part of the story?
Well, I don't know this why thing you're going into.
No, I was trying to remember why. Okay, it was because I listened to a call one night. Everybody was quiet in the house, and it was after hours, and I was like listening to Marty, somebody up in Ohio, and I was new, and she said you have to have some goals, and if you can't come up with goals for yourself, maybe for somebody else. Well, he was complaining that, and I'm throwing you under the bus, that he inherited my Mustang, okay, and it was a girl Mustang. I had to have a van, but I did not complain. I had a Mustang, okay, but I had to go to a van when we had 2 kids in the room. So then I came up with, that's gonna be my goal when I hit QNMD, and I wrote down the actual dollar amount I needed to increase and put it on a little yellow sticky, and that was the amount I had to hit in order to get him a Mustang. So then he said no stickers ever on cars, but after that he put the Powered by Juice Plus on his car, because he got a GT Mustang. He didn't like the girl Mustang that was automatic and whatever. He got, you
I
know.
couldn't drive that thing.
Right. So anyway, that was where he got the Mustang. So he did over time, like after the $1,000, so you gotta, you know, use your tools, ladies. Get the $1,000, get him a car, and then he came to the NMD meeting. And then over time, though, he saw that this was a real business. He had been able to leave a real bad high school situation where he was at and moved to working at a church. So we've always said, you know what, this is our retirement plan, the Juice Plus business, because it continued to grow. We could see the potential, and it was a consumable product that you make income past the point of sale. So we've got customers from 25 years ago continuing to order, also team from 25 years, and every year, you know, you're building more, and that's the exponential part of our business. So it was pretty amazing. I'll let you add into.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was doing my own thing. So sometimes couples, you know, this happens frequently. It happened a couple times this weekend. They'll come up a lady will come up to me and say, hey, I need you to talk to my husband. And I used to, I like to joke around a lot, so sometimes I'll say things like, listen, it's great to work together, but don't ruin the guy's life. He has his own dreams and goals. Maybe he wants to do something else. I mean, it's okay. We don't all have to do this, right? So, I do think it's important for, I think in any good relationship, like Sharron loves racquetball, so I encourage her to play racquetball, and I don't know if I help you play racquetball, but maybe I do. I want her to play racquetball. And she loves racket sports, so she loves pickleball. So I'm not willing to play racquetball, but I'll play pickleball. It's kind of fun, and that comes into our story later. So it's just about being supportive, like you would in anything else. If you love somebody, why wouldn't you support them in it? You know what I mean? So, and if it turns out that this might be a good fit for you, then you go further into it. For me, at first I was just climbing the ladder in the education field, and along the way somewhere, I think it was in Memphis. I was talking to you guys about it last night when she did her NMD speech. I mean, I saw her growing, becoming more of a leader. But I went from being in the classroom to being a school leader, and I love leadership. I'm always reading leadership books and all that nerdy kind of stuff. And I saw her growing, and it was great. So she makes this thing called NMD. I didn't know what it was, so I go to Memphis. I thought it was going to be a room like this, maybe a couple hundred people, and she gets a plaque or something. It's great. So I go to Memphis, and it's like all these crazy Juice Plus people, and they're meeting doctors and corporate people. And then, just the quality of people, like you guys are going to hear from like Shay later today. I was meeting people like that, and as a person who leads people, meeting people like Kurt Beavers and Shay and Jay Martin, it was like my mind was blown. I was like, this is awesome. I love this. So I started getting more excited about the business. I just wanted to get more involved. So I started getting, slowly over time, getting more and more involved. And that's kind of how my story went. I just kind of went from being the supportive spouse to maybe being like the busboy at the parties at the house, to eventually doing a wellness presentation, and then, just doing the business. So that's just basically how it went, and at some point, we had the confidence in where the business was going to say, hey, this high school situation, I have this opportunity to go to the church and start like a worship leader training program. And now it's actually turned into a university, and it's pretty cool. I guess I'm the founder of a university. I don't work there anymore because that was a great job, but this is way better. But it was great. I was training. It's kind of like Kurt was talking about this morning, like having purpose and loving what you're doing. And you never know what's going to happen when you're just obedient to that call. And you guys may have heard of a worship leader named Brandon Lake. He's very popular right now. He's doing a lot in the Christian music world. But that was one of my students when he was an 18-year-old kid coming through. He was always at the house, and we'd have parties, and we'd write songs, and it was amazing. So it's so cool to see him. And there's many others that came through that program that are having success like that. So it's cool to be able to plant that seed. But eventually, we were on vacation in Myrtle Beach. My dad had recently passed away. A close friend of mine that I used to work with as a band director just one night didn't wake up the next morning, had a massive heart attack. And it's like, what is life about? What are we doing here? Like, what if we just worked together and we built the business and we went all in with that? So we decided to do that. And that was about 7-8 years ago. And we wouldn't trade it for anything. We have all the eggs are in one basket. We don't have like the diversified income. I guess we're not very smart or something. But we have confidence in the company, the business model, our products, ourselves, and this is just what we do. So it's fun. It's amazing. So finding a buddy. This is my buddy in the business. Okay, and Jay Martin always says, hey, you have to find a buddy, and that is super important. But it's really fun having like your spouse buddy. So I'll give you a little bit of advice in that area. First of all, you can't force your spouse to be your buddy. They have to want to be your buddy, and they have to want to do the business. But it's great because we dream together, we set goals together, The car ride home from this is gonna be amazing, because we're gonna like have a ton of notes, a ton of plans, and it's just gonna be awesome, awesome, awesome. But working together, I think when I first came home, and well, I don't think, I know, because she told me, I think she was about to kill me, because she would say things like, well, I was used to kind of working alone all day, and now it's like, I'm like messing things up basically. You know, I have ideas, and also see, I come home and I'm like, what if we do this? And it's like, chill out, bro. It's like, this is how we do it. You know? I've had to learn and also respect. I know when I made QNMB, it was kind of cool because back then they had Q schools, so we'd go to Memphis and they're training us, and we're walking around the corporate building, and my classmates were like, hey Doug, your name's on the wall. And they have this plaque at the office that has a bunch of, you know, NMDs from around the world and stuff. And I don't know why I put my name first, but it's Doug and Sharron Farror, so that was pretty cool. But I have to remember that she did the really hard work, okay? And so she is my upline, but also my buddy in the business, and I give her that respect that, you know, I do default to her. She knows what she's doing, she's great. But ultimately, we are stronger together. I have certain strengths, she has certain strengths. Even before that, I was always an advisor and a coach, yeah. And that's really what I love to do and stuff. But
I want to mention that he was already kind of coaching me, so then it was like, well, now you can coach the team how you used to coach me, you know. And that's what sometimes husbands or spouses are good at. They're already giving their advice or their objective advice. We want that, you know, and you're a part of it, whether you're a spouse or not, because you are watching all of it. You're watching all the transformations or the things of the business. So he was already doing that, and then there were people that were saying, I remember when Doug told me this or coached me on this. And so it was kind of a natural progression. Also when social media came into play, he loved that. The UK came and got on the stage and made things a lot more simple. Yes, just plus work. It's just like, so when all that excitement was happening, he really saw a place for him, you know, in the business. And it was over time. He'd already started making simple changes to his health too. And so it just kind of, it's a natural progression.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the key to working, the last thing I'll say about working with a spouse is to really communicate. You can't just leave a message on Boxer and that's it. I mean, either I'm sleeping in the bed or I'm sleeping on the couch, you know, so how I communicate is really important, you know. But also acknowledging and honoring them, because it's easy when I mean, she's awesome. I'm okay, maybe awesome too. But she does so many great things over all these years, it's easy to just take it for granted. So you do have to celebrate each other and cheer each other on and be a raving fan of each other and all that stuff. So, and also to disagree. We don't always see eye to eye on certain things. And, you know, it's a relationship. So
we don't duke it out or anything.
No, I haven't, you know, you don't throw plates at me or anything in the kitchen.
We just kind of avoid those conflicts.
Now my office, if you've ever been on our Zooms, you notice we're not next to each other on the Zoom.
We'd be hitting each other.
Because then, like, I get like the knee, you know. It's like, or sometimes I'll be like,
oh yeah, help tap me. That means
yeah. So it's just better to be upstairs. But you know, I do love on Zoom. You have the private chat, you know. So you can still private chat.
It's better that way.
Yeah. All right, enough of that. You talk about working with a buddy that isn't your spouse.
Okay, so I've had a few buddies along the way, you know. First was Julie, and Amy was so essential. And then Abby, though, she really, I don't know if you guys have heard my story, but she helped me to reconcile doing a wellness presentation. But first, she was doing them for me, and she was my partner. And so my gift was hosting. So I said, I have the house, I'll do all the hosting, and she loved presenting. So that was how that went for a while. And then I felt bad because Julie was getting other team members who were doing the presentation. And I remember driving down University Drive, and I'm talking to Julie, and she's not putting pressure on me, but there's pressure. These Boca babes were coming out of the gates, and they were doing really well, and they were empowered in doing the wellness presentation. Well, I never thought I was that healthy of an eater, so I had to really reconcile that, and that's a whole nother talk. You can box with me. So anyway, I had to reconcile that for myself, but first, my knee-jerk response to Julie to say out loud was, if I have to do a wellness presentation, I might as well quit. That's what I said. That probably scared her, I don't know. She probably reported to Amy, I think so. Because I've heard references to it. We were worried about you. You know, so anyway, that was how I felt. I felt like I wasn't enough, as Wendy would say. I didn't feel like I could be the person to talk about nutrition. I'm still going to Arby's and getting chicken sandwiches and French fries or whatever, you know. And so I had to reconcile and talk like I wanted to talk, not like Julie did or anybody else did. So that's part of it. So anyway, Abby, though, said, Sharron, I was like on the porch swing and I was just underconfident. She's like, where's your confidence? And she's like, you used to present to 600 kids at a high school or whatever. I'm like, well, that was different. And she goes, you know, everybody in the room, not everybody knows what you know. You're in a network of professionals who we learn from, and you know more than the people in the room who you're going to be speaking with. And so she said that, and she also said, you know, treat it like a college course. And I'm like, okay, now I can relate, or a test. And so I went and I studied the wellness presentation. I came back out to the hammock and I rehearsed it. Then I'd go in the yellow room, it was called, and I would do it in front of the mirror. So I really had to work on getting over my problem with that, and that was really good. She was one of my awesome buddies that really helped me build in the beginning. Then there was another one, Michelle Fletcher, along the way, and she helped me build kind of in the middle. And then now we're in Jacksonville, and I realized I have a sideline buddy who's awesome, and she helps to like book hotel rooms. I don't want to do that. You know, I don't want to do that at all. And Doug is my ultimate buddy. He does everything I don't want to do, including at home, anything that's disgusting, vomit.
I take care of the vomit.
Anything with the pets, but also in the business, I'm like, I don't want to do that. Is that like your gift and talent? And he's like, yeah. So yeah, he's got a lot of them. But anyway, also just being a buddy to someone, like for Julie was underconfident, believe it or not, Julie Herbst. And I would call her and say, did you share Juice Plus with anybody today? Because we were really like just talking every day, weren't we, Amy? I feel like it was like every day. If you have a buddy, why not talk every day? Encourage each other and cheer each other on. So I'd be like, did you share Juice Plus today? She's like, oh no, I didn't feel comfortable. I'm like, what are you talking about? You are the aerobics instructor. Share with those people. And I don't know. You know, so then there were those conversations, and then I'd be like, and Amy and Jeannie would leave messages on the answering machine way back when, and it would say, Sharron, you're almost qualified or something. I'd buy a water filter. I'd do whatever I could to make sure I was qualified. Call Julie, did you qualify your business? Did you buy something? Did you need to buy something? Oh, I don't know. So you gotta make sure you're qualified, because she had me, she had Abby, and then we had other people on our team. So if you're qualified, you make an extra bonus. So anyway, there were those kinds of things, and then Abby encouraging me, and so a buddy is really important. You've got to be able to talk to somebody, and do that on a daily or a weekly basis.
Yes, and I still get, I got a message recently from Jeannie Williams.
Yeah,
Doug,
she
I'm
still
so
does
proud
it.
of you for getting all those customers this month. It's great.
Wow.
It's like, makes me so happy.
Yeah.
By the way, I didn't realize, I knew ultimately I would go under the bus during this talk, but I mean, she's like going over me and then putting it in reverse and back in reverse. I'm halfway through, man. This is gonna be a rough ride home. I thought it was gonna be great. So we want to have joy doing our business. So in order to be happy, you gotta be you. Okay? You can't say, well, Julie Herbst does this, and so social media looks like this, and oh, Sharron says this is what you have to do, so you have to do it exactly that way. You gotta be you. Okay? You gotta be you. So you work to your strengths. And now, of course, that's gonna help you find your place in this business. Some people, like Kurt said, I hate the salad jar stuff. I hate those things.
He hides from those pictures.
And the dressing, it's like, it gets all slimy. I don't like it. Now, I actually like the sourdough stuff because I'm a cook. I like that stuff. But you gotta do your thing. But as far as not events yet, we'll get to that. But how you're unique, that is a strength. That's your strength. And like you were made that way, and you gotta that's what you gotta do. So be careful even as you hear trainings and people say how they're doing things. It's easy to I mean, my goodness, I know it's the next day, but I still feel it. I mean, I'm sitting right there watching Wendy Campbell last night and saying, dear God, we have to go after this? This is not right. Like, the energy's still going to be there. I can't bring that. But I don't have to be Wendy Campbell, okay? And I get to do my thing. And the more you step into your thing, it's gonna be authentic and it's gonna be good. Okay? You might think, well, Ashley, oh my gosh, I could be like Ashley. There's only one Ashley too. You know, it's like you can't be that person. All right, so Sharron does certain things, I do certain things. You know, she is very social. I mean, it's unbelievable. She just loves it. You know, I'm technically I'm an introvert. It doesn't always look like I'm an introvert because I do this stuff. But this is probably like the musician in me that it's just I like performing and being the funny guy and all that stuff. But when it comes to conversations, like last night, Sharron will work the room and she'll talk to everybody. I'll find like who I'm going to talk to, and there's my person. And I'm going to get into that conversation. You know what I mean? That's typical introvert behavior. She's all about relationships. She's great at the comp plan. I want to be good at the comp plan. Amy, I promise, I will get there. We get coaching from Amy, and she tells me what to do, and it's like, I don't know. It's been a while, okay? But that is her strength.
But maybe you shouldn't worry about it.
Maybe I should. But I mean, it's kind of like, yeah, whatever. I don't need my counseling now. You'll take for the right one. She's great with levels meditation. She's task oriented. I'm more of like I've always been like the leader at work and like the planner of like, we'll create a worship college. It'll look like this. What if we threw this out in traditional education and we did it this way? And people were like, are you crazy? Let's work through that, you know? So I love strategic planning. I love like project broadcasts and all the tech stuff, and you know, so it's nice to have a buddy because we can play off of each other's strengths, and you can even do that in the business. If you're doing, you know, events, you know, you're still going to have like you with Karen. I don't know if I'm jumping slides here, but I think you might have skipped that. But with Karen in Jacksonville, Karen, one of our sidelines, she loves setting up the venues and doing all this stuff. Sharron would be out of her mind if she had to do that. You know,
For sure.
She doesn't like it.
Yeah.
All right, so finding your joy in the journey. This is really important because, and we learned a lot about this just recently, and it's what we're kind of passionate about right now. Because we moved from South Florida. Now, I grew up in South Florida. I mean, we lived within 10 miles of my elementary school, and we had a great life in South Florida, but you know, one thing led to another. Somebody sent us a video about this awesome community in North Florida. And we're like, okay. And then within a month or two, we were in Jacksonville. You know, it's nice when you work for yourself and you're in Juice Plus, you can go live anywhere, you know, and just change it up. Why not? So we did. And we got there. It was at the end of COVID, so like it wasn't really wide open as people say Florida was. It was still locked down a little bit. And people weren't doing live events and all this stuff. So we just focused on, you know, being at home a lot and working on the new house and all these things. And of course, it's a golf community, so all of a sudden, you know, I was in a situation where I have a golf cart in the garage and unlimited golf, so that was kind of great. So, finally, we started plugging into the community, and I'll let you share a little bit about that because it's fun.
I know. So we thought we were making the most of the community. We actually were doing home repairs and reconstruction and stuff. You know, like the Juice Plus business is always kind of hanging over your head whether you're actually doing it or not. So you want to kind of pay attention to that. You know, and we were sharing, but there's a big difference. If you are actually out among people and you're social and you're having events, that's a whole nother feeling. And so the first year or two, I was going 20 minutes to racquetball, coming back. But the second or third year, I sprained my ankle. I had torn ligaments, so I started playing pickleball instead. And so that's when we really started to just stay in the community and make the most of it. And you might not have that situation, but you've got to figure out your situation. But then I started to make friends in pickleball. I would go to the birthday lunch. I would talk to them. And now I had people where I knew them and I could invite them to events at our house. Because really, right when we got there, they wanted to hand us the reins. Here, you do all Jacksonville events. We're like, what? We live west of Jacksonville. We're not even in Jacksonville. We don't know anyone. So it was kind of like we were resistant to doing big events. But then we said, we're going to do smaller events in the home, but then we really didn't have anybody to invite. So over time, we started to get out in the community, and we've come to realize we're really good at it now. It took a while. Like, if there's a yard sale in the community, you know, one of those big ones, we go just to meet the people, because everybody's outside their house, and it's a nice casual way to meet them, and we're not always doing it purposely. We actually enjoy it, you know? So we enjoy meeting people. I like to say to the team always, arrive early, leave late. You know, you want to spend that time. Don't be in such a hurry. I notice with young moms, or even older children, some people are so time constrained that they don't allow themselves to really relax and get to know people and think about next steps, or even, you know, be in those conversations. They're like, okay, I'm gonna go do this, I'm gonna go do this, I'm gonna go do this, and they don't take that time to really like say, hey, I can come to your house, or I can do this or that. When he says I'm social, I'm more like that too. I'm more spontaneous, like, oh, I'll come over, I'll do this, you know, just really relaxed about my schedule so that I can be open to being with people, you know?
I think you have to be intentional about it. Think about, you know, so we're in like one of those communities, it's 1,500 homes, there's golf course, there's, you know, resort style community or whatever. So what we do is anything that's happening in the community, we do it, or in the surrounding area. The same thing if you're not in one of those communities. Looking back at our old city, we could have been a lot better at this. You know, just even on Facebook, if you just look at events, you can see all those local things happening. If they have a farmer's market, go to the farmer's market. You don't even have to buy anything. Just walk around, talk to the vendors, talk to people, bring your dog, like just have a good old time. Speaking of dogs, the dog park, I mean, dog parks are awesome. Dog people are amazing, right? Yeah, I mean, you're gonna know the names of the dogs before the people, but, and you know what I mean? But dog parks are great because while the dogs are playing, you're having conversations. And so sometimes we coach people and it's like, okay, you need to get out, you need to do things. Well, there's one person I coach will be like, oh yeah, I'm going to a walking group with this person, or I'm going on a walking meetup. And then next week it's like, I'm going to this networking thing. The next week I'm going to this. And it's like, no. Dig into a community, become a part of a community. You know, try to find those kind of recurring events. So a great way to do that is through activities. And this is where we love to have fun with it. So sometimes people are hesitant, like, well, I don't know, what do I do? Well, I like to read and stay home. Well, that's okay.
That's not going to build your business.
Well, a book club could. A little slower,
yes,
maybe,
a book club would.
A book club, or even online book clubs and things like that. So some people don't always dream like that, you know, about doing fun things. Like I'm busy with the kids. I'm busy with this, and I got to keep the house just right, and da. Well, think back to when you were younger. Okay, what is something you loved to do when you were young, but you don't do it now? Can I get an answer?
I think
Concerts.
What? Going to concerts. Yes, that's a good one. Play basketball. Yeah, there's adult basketball leagues. You know, the knees are all wrapped up on those guys. I've seen those guys. They icing their knees on the way out. I've seen those guys. Somebody else. Gymnastics. I don't know how you get involved in gymnastics as an adult, but I'm sure you can. You know, and there's just things you can do. Gymnastics, I mean, that's related to athletics and yoga and things like that. And you know, you just find those things. So dream a little bit. Maybe you played piano, but now you don't. So what if you worked on that and took some lessons? What if you got involved in the church? I mean, that's one of my outlets too. Is so I'm a musician. I could just go to church, or I could say, hey, I have talent for a reason, let me volunteer at the church. And then, what else can I do? Well, I used to run a worship college, so why don't we start training? I mean, we went from a church of 30,000 to a small church. We used to be in the elementary school, we just got a building, and it's awesome. And now they're starting a youth band. Well, why don't we start a youth band training program? So it's Now I'm running youth band workshops. Well, what else do I do? Well, we do sourdough workshops, and our church has these summer hangouts this summer. Hey, we're looking for people to do something kind of special, and we could have hangouts to, instead of small groups for the summer, we're gonna have like activities. What if we did some sourdough workshops? Hey, Doug, it'd be great if you did a sourdough workshop. I'm like, yeah, how about if we do 4 sourdough workshops? Let's line them up. And in fact, let's also have some vegetarian potlucks, you know? So now we have events from the church at the house. Well, I said, hey, Sharron, we can do like a big old sourdough event at the church. She's like, no way, let's do small ones at the house. Let's get them to the house, you know? So, it's great. So we're getting into the church community.
Let me comment on that.
Yeah.
So when you bring them to your house, you're showing them your lifestyle, you know, and I know some people are uncomfortable with that. And, you know, that's a different story, but if you're not uncomfortable with that, then you've got your tower garden that they can see, you can make complete, or your complete balls. It's just a more relaxed atmosphere where they get to know you, and then they find out more about Juice Plus. So no, I didn't want to do like a one-off sourdough party at the church. I said, let's have some here at the house so that they can get to know us. And we have also, we give away produce from the Tower Garden. We bring people into our house, and we've sold Tower Gardens that way, but we've sold Juice Plus that way. We're complete. Like if somebody comes to our house, they're getting something. And that's the other part about being intentional, is having samples with you. You know, whether it's the Luminate or gummies, things like that. That actually does help you get some customers.
Yeah. So we just want to get people to the house. You know, we'll have events. We do a variety of events. We have fun with the events. It's not always, I mean, in the old days, and we still do these, like a wellness presentation, like the traditional wellness presentation, but you have sourdough. We do a thing called Tower Garden Open House. We'll probably call it like the garden party in the future, where we grow tons of lettuce and then people come over. And we post in our Facebook group for the community, hey, like I have 3 up right now, but sometimes I'll have 4 tower gardens going. But I'll plant like 2 rows on the top of each one. If you know about basil, I mean, that's a ridiculous amount of basil. It's insane. So you take pictures. It's like, oops, I grew too much basil. Anybody want some? People come over to the house. Well, I'm not going to hand it to them at the door. They got to come back and harvest it themselves and hear about the tower garden. You know what I mean? And plus, hey, you want a smoothie? Sharron just happens to be making a smoothie right now. But we don't do it in like a creepy way. It's like we actually do have a blender of smoothie at all times, ready to go in the fridge. You know, so it's okay to be that person. You know, and just really become healthy and live that mission and share that journey.
Yes, and social media, some people are a little resistant about social media. You want to use social media as a tool for the business if you're hesitant at all. And just posting your lifestyle, posting how you're living the mission, not spamming, not selling, not putting your website, not saying buy one, get one free, things like that, but just putting yourself out there so that they see your face, so that the conversation has already been started on social media, but when they see you, then they're like, oh, what was that tower garden thing? That looked pretty cool. You know, or what was that smoothie you just made on social media? That way it's just part of continuing that conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, so living the mission, I'll say this a lot, but I love this tagline. I don't know where it came from. I always attribute it to Julie for some reason, but live the mission, share the journey. Mm-hmm. I think that was like a tagline on a
Mission-driven model.
Yeah, the mission-driven model thing she made years ago. But this is a really good slide, and we wanted to get some answers, and Sharron, you're going to lead this part. I believe.
Okay, all right. So, you know, sometimes people have their own objections. You know, we always talk about the customer's objections, right? But we have objections to why we don't do certain things in the business. So it's good to listen to your own self-talk, right? Or, you know, we get to hear our teammates saying things that we're like, oh, red alert, you know, I can't do the business in the morning, I go to the gym. Okay, so you're at the gym, can you share with other people? No, I have my headphones in, that's my time. Okay, you know, it's like, you've got to be open to sharing your time and being open to meeting people and things like that. And then they'll be like, okay, I can only work Thursday, Friday. You know, that's, if you want to really build the business, you've got to be open to really taking care of, and we talked about this, your baby, okay? Like you wouldn't just pay attention to your baby Thursday and Friday, right? The Juice Plus business is your baby. And so you want to take care of your baby consistently, right? And that's what's going to pay you into the future. So sometimes you have these objections that you need to listen to of your own, like, oh, I don't have a table, so I can't have a wellness presentation. That was an objection. I had to deal with somebody. And so over time, they don't have the vision. They don't see for themselves what this can do to create a better life for them 10 years from now. So whether you're the buddy to that person or the coach of that person, you've got to help give that vision. So vision and action will overcome your own objections.
Yeah, those objections are coming from inside of you. You're making up your own reasons that are causing you to not be able to do the business. But on the same way, people that are doing the business are making up their own rules that allow them to do the business. And it's not like when you look around at the super successful people in Juice Plus, like they're horrible parents or something, right? They haven't neglected their children to get there. You know, they just have included everything and just kind of gone with the flow and maybe didn't have as perfect of a house. It's okay, right?
Mm-hmm. So Doug and I were talking about top tips, and I said always networking.
We're gonna fire them
without exception, you know, and like there's a new teammate that we just got, and she's a customer of one of my acupuncturists. I look at who her mutual friends are, somebody I networked with like 20 years ago. I'm like, yes, somehow I will get that doctor. And so you always want to network and have next steps and be thinking of next steps.
And focus on activity that builds the business. Don't just focus on like where you are in the journey. Of course, have goals, but focus on activity. Build relationships. And the priority for us is building relationships. And then from that, that's when people come. If you're having trouble inviting, maybe it's too cold of an invite. You know, maybe you need to warm that up. I use my list according to what Kurt taught me. That's a hot, warm, cold system. And you want to warm them up to where they're ready to get hot, and that's when you're actually talking about Juice Plus and things like that.
And you want to get confident. You want to learn as much as you can to be confident. So again, talking to your upline sponsor, whether it's the research or whether it's the business, you want to get good at it. If you're only getting customers, you want to start learning more about the business. Robert Kiyosaki, the 21st Century Business Book, that's a great one. I had to write out bullet points about what got me excited about the business. Sometimes you have to coach yourself. So do those types of things where you're really getting excited about that. Perfectionism, realize that this is a business, I think, that is messy. Okay, so you got to get over your perfectionism. It's not something that fits in little boxes and that you can just, do it like that. It's okay. It's okay if you're not perfect. I like that Brandon Barber says, do it 70%. Do it 70%. Take that pressure off, doesn't have to be perfect. And then growing, coming to the boot camps. Don't you wish we all had more people here, right? Things
and
like
so
that.
You can do it your own way, but you got to hold it all together. So even though you're an individual, we have systems that'll keep you sane. Don't go off of the systems. Make sure you communicate. Use the systems on boards, keep your list, participate in your Facebook groups, keep a great group and a team group, and then of course stay connected around the campfire on Zoom with everybody. And in closing, I'll challenge you guys, has anybody seen the Blue Zone series on Netflix?
Yes.
Really great, right? In that first episode, from Okinawa, and these are like, Blue Zone is where people are unusually living to 100 years old and beyond. One of the things they cite in Japanese culture is the concept of ikigai. I hope I said that right. I think I remember. We have a Japanese translator in our community, one of our pickleball friends, and he taught me about it too. But that is their concept. It's kind of like your mission, your passion, how you can make money, what you're really good at, all rolled into one. It's a life purpose, life work. Think about the people, again, when you have goals and you say, man, I look at Amy Getz, and man, she's just such a godly woman. She's a great leader. She has financial success. She has family success. But also realize, she's not afraid to talk about Juice Plus. She's not afraid to be the Juice Plus lady or the Christian lady. And she is who she is. And it all comes together, and she walks in that, like that Batman. I used to tell Brandon like this, It's like there's a Batman suit, and Batman's only Batman when he puts the suit on. Like, you gotta get in your Batman suit and just be you. Be Batman. I don't know if that makes sense. But you find your purpose and your passion, and you just roll with it. Okay, so I encourage you guys to have fun. We skipped some of our little tips. They're in that PowerPoint, but thanks for having us, and thanks for a great weekend.
amazing. And then we got to get our calendars together. Don't forget.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Pickleball and golf.
Pickleball and golf. That's right. So we had another. You know, what's been amazing this weekend is how people have been willing to juggle. If y'all felt like it was bad because we had to juggle and make switches and swaps and all kind of stuff, no. I just went up and I whispered in Kendall's ear. I said, "Hey, Kendall, just to take a little pressure off of Mitra and Shay, because they got 2.5 hours to the airport, and the airport's still crazy, and he's got a 4 o'clock flight. So would you mind if they went first?" And she said, "No problem. That's just how we roll."